Beef rice. Korean scientists have developed experimental hybrid foods. Scientists from South Korea have created a hybrid of beef and rice in their laboratories. They used rice grains as a scaffold for the growth of animal cells. This is how beef rice was created. He has about 8% more protein and 7% more fat than regular rice. As the world's population grows, so does the burden on the environment. One of the stressors for ecosystems is the production of food, especially meat, which occupies larger and larger areas of land and requires increasing amounts of water necessary for animal breeding. One way to alleviate pressure on the environment could be lab-grown meat. This technology is still in its infancy, but you can hear about food produced in this way more and more often. Scientists from Yonsei University in Seoul, developing various methods of laboratory meat breeding, have developed hybrid food. They combined rice with beef. The result resembles pink mush, but as the authors of the solution claim, it is a protein-rich food that emits much less greenhouse gases than traditional beef farming. The description and results of the research were published in the magazine. Whether it's meat grown in a laboratory or protein from insects, these innovative alternatives offer hope for a planet struggling with the ecological effects of industrial agriculture. South Korean scientists have added something completely new to this list: beef rice. The method presented in the publication allows you to obtain nutritious hybrid food, which, when introduced to the market, may constitute a cheaper protein alternative with a smaller carbon footprint. Let's imagine that we get all the nutrients we need from cell-cultured rice, says Sohyun Park, the first author of the publication. Rice has a high level of nutrients, but adding cells from farm animals can increase it even more, he points out. The research team behind the project hopes that their beef rice can alleviate the problems of communities struggling with food insecurity, as well as reduce the environmental impact of cattle farming. Finding alternative sources of protein or increasing the efficiency of conventional animal production is crucial. This is probably one of the most important issues facing humanity, says John Oatley of Washington State University, who was not involved in the research. Last year, the United States and Singapore allowed the sale of lab-grown meat. Scientists from Seoul used cell culture methods to develop the innovative rice, similar to those used for other meat products grown in the laboratory. They placed animal cells on a scaffold made of rice grains. They immersed all this in a nutritional cocktail necessary for cell growth. Using rice as a scaffold has the advantage that the rice grains can nourish and support the growth of animal cells. On the other hand, it adds nutrients to the rice. As a result, beef rice has a slightly higher fat and protein content than standard rice. The first attempts failed. The researchers intended to grow bovine cells directly in the porous crevices of rice grains. But this method did not produce the expected results. In further work, the researchers found that coating rice with fish gelatin and a widely used food additive, bacterial transglutaminase, improved cell attachment and growth. The team deposited cow stem cells of muscle and fat tissue on the rice grain prepared in this way. This set then spent 9 to 11 days in a growth media bath. After this time, Park washed and steamed the beef rice, just like conventional rice. What did it taste like? It was definitely different from regular rice, Park says. Apart from taste, the important thing is the nutritional ingredients of the product. Scientists have conducted various analyses of the nutritional value of their rice. They showed that beef rice has 8% more protein and 7% more fat than regular rice. Compared to the typical sticky and soft texture, the hybrid rice was firmer. Rice with a higher muscle cell content had aroma compounds reminiscent of beef and almonds, while rice with a higher fat cell content had aromas similar to cream, butter and coconut oil. 100 grams of rice is equivalent to consuming 100 grams of traditional rice and 1 gram of beef. According to scientists, the content of beef cells is low and they probably only form a film on the rice. But this can be changed by increasing the number of stem cells deposited on rice grains. We usually get the protein we need from farm animals, but animal farming uses a lot of resources and water and emits a lot of greenhouse gases, says Park. The product developed by the Seoul team has a much smaller carbon footprint. Considering that beef rice is relatively easy to produce and relatively cheap, the team is optimistic about the commercialization of the product. He estimates that a kilogram of beef rice in its current form would cost $2.23. Which is comparable to regular rice at $2.20 per kilogram and much cheaper than beef at $14.88 per kilogram. But before beef rice hits store shelves, the team plans to create better conditions on the rice grains for both muscle and fat cells to develop, which could further increase the nutritional value. I didn't expect that rice cells would develop so well on rice. Now I see a lot of opportunities for hybrid foods based on grains, says Park. Cigarette smoking affects the immune system. Even years after quitting, it has long been known that smoking cigarettes is harmful. But scientists are still discovering previously unknown mechanisms showing how harmful smoking is to the human body. In a new study, scientists from the Institut Pasteur in Paris found that smoking has an effect on the immune system that lasts long after the last cigarette has been smoked. Cigarette smoking increases the risk of cardiovascular and lung diseases. But it also damages many other organs and often leads to the development of cancer, most often lung cancer. But also other types. It also affects mental health. In a 2020 study, researchers found that smokers were more likely to suffer from depression. In turn, in analyses from December last year, scientists showed that smoking can lead to brain shrinkage. Quitting smoking reduces the risk of most of these diseases, but, as French scientists have found, it leaves a mark on the immune system and seems to shape it for years. The new findings add to the vast body of evidence on the harmful effects of cigarette smoking. The results and description of the research were published in the journal Nature. Many factors influence the human immune system's response to infections and other challenges. Age, gender and genetics play a key role, but the role of other factors has not been fully defined. A new study shows that smoking has an equally important impact on immune responses, and some of its effects are likely to persist for years after quitting. The health of your immune system depends on how well it responds to various factors. The immune response should be balanced, not too much, not too little, but just enough to fight infections but not attack the body's own body. However, not all immune systems are created equal. There is great variability in the way different people respond to the same microbes, as the COVID-19 pandemic has clearly demonstrated. Some of the infected were fighting for their lives, while others did not even have a cold. Scientists still don't fully understand where these differences come from. Scientists from the Institut Pasteur analyzed blood samples and questionnaires collected by the Milieu Interior Consortium from 500 women and 500 men, aged 20 to 69, living in Brittany, France. They exposed the samples to bacteria, fungi, antibodies or other agents known to trigger an immune response and watched the response develop. After exposure, they measured the production of cytokines, key molecules that stimulate cells involved in the immune system response. They combined the obtained results with information obtained from extensive questionnaires completed by participants in the research. These questionnaires contained 44 pages of questions regarding various characteristics of the respondents, their lifestyle and previous diseases. Of the 136 environmental factors the team examined, 11 were associated with some degree of cytokine release, meaning they altered the body's response to infection, but 3 stood out as particularly strongly associated: cigarette smoking, body mass index and a history of cytomegalovirus infection, a common and generally asymptomatic disease, mainly in infancy. Cigarette smoke is a known health stressor, but research on its effects on the immune system is relatively new. The results of the analyses showed that cigarette smoking appears to have an impact on the immune response comparable to the key factors influencing the immune system, i.e. age, gender and genes. Analyzing the blood of active and former smokers, scientists noticed that the reaction of former smokers' bodies was much lower to factors causing inflammation. However, the researchers found other smoking-induced changes in the immune response persisted many years after quitting. Contact with pathogens can trigger 2 types of immune responses. These are the innate or non-specific response and the acquired, specific or adaptive response. The study authors concluded that smoking significantly changes both the innate response, the body's first line of defense, and the more threat-specific adaptive response. Data suggest that after smoking cessation, innate immune cytokine secretion quickly returns to levels found in non-smokers, but the effects on the adaptive response appear to persist for years. Some of the stimulants used in the studies were chosen to target the adaptive immune response, in which specialized cells and antibodies attack and remember invaders. Some components of the adaptive immune response showed long-lasting changes. For example, exposure to pathogens in blood samples from smokers, current and former, released more signaling proteins called interleukins than the blood of non-smokers, which is a warning sign that their white blood cells are becoming overactive. The persistent effects of smoking on cytokine production have been linked to patterns of chemical tags, called methyl groups, that are added to cells' DNA in specific regions. The addition of such methyl groups can change the activity of the gene. The researchers observed changes in 5 genes whose low methylation levels have previously been linked to smoking. The more cigarettes a person smoked and the more years they smoked, the lower the level of DNA methylation. Scientists are not sure which components of tobacco are responsible for these effects, but there is no indication that it is nicotine. It is also unclear whether electronic cigarettes cause similar effects. The findings may affect, for example, the effectiveness of the vaccine in smokers and former smokers. The immune cells in these people may not be able to mount a good immune response. Perhaps a different approach should be taken in people who have smoked for a long time because their adaptive immune response will be weak. This is the first step in understanding that smoking controls certain factors of the immune system, says Dara Duffy, an immunologist at the Institut Pasteur and lead author of the paper. Duffy also admits that it's tempting to think of the more reactive immune system in smokers as good when we're injured or sick. Short-term inflammation helps the body recover. However, an overreaction that persists after the threat subsides can lead to chronic inflammation or autoimmune disease. Quitting smoking restores the inflammatory response to what it would be without cigarette smoking, but the epigenetic changes associated with smoking may be more difficult to reverse. Tobacco-affected immune cells are long-lived and remain in the bloodstream for years. Astronomers have detected water on the surface of asteroids. Thanks to data collected by the now decommissioned SOFIA Observatory, scientists from the Southwest Research Institute detected water molecules on the surface of 2 asteroids, Iris and Massalia, which are located in the main belt between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. There are various objects in the solar system, planets and their moons, comets and asteroids. The latter, according to estimates, may number up to around 1 million. They have been orbiting the Sun for billions of years, and until now it was believed that the water present on them, if there was any at all, should have evaporated long ago. However, new research using data from the SOFIA Observatory has shown that there is water on the asteroids Iris and Massalia. The description and results of the research were published in the Planetary Science Journal. SOFIA, Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy, will be decommissioned in 2022. It was a telescope mounted on the plane. Observations were made at an altitude above 12,000 meters, because at lower altitudes water vapor absorbs infrared radiation, and SOFIA worked in this radiation range. Using data collected by the observatory, scientists looked at 4 silicate-rich asteroids. SOFIA's FORCAST instrument helped isolate mid-infrared spectral signatures indicating the presence of molecular water on 2 of them. Asteroids are remnants of planet formation, so their composition varies depending on where they formed in the solar nebula, said Dr. Anisha Arredondo of the Southwest Research Institute, SWRI, lead author of the paper. The distribution of water on asteroids is particularly interesting because it may shed more light on how water could have been delivered to the Earth's surface, she added. Anhydrous, dry silicate asteroids, researchers believe, formed close to the Sun, but ice would have no chance of surviving so close to the star. Closer to the Sun, ice-free silicate asteroids dominate. while icy objects are more common further away. Understanding the location of asteroids and their composition will allow us to learn how the materials in the solar nebula, even before the formation of planets and asteroids, were distributed and how they have evolved since their formation. The distribution of water in the solar system may also give a clue as to what the distribution of water might be like in other planetary systems, and since water is essential for life on Earth, it may also indicate where to look for potential life, both in our solar system and beyond. We have detected a feature that is clearly attributed to molecular water on the asteroids Iris and Massalia. We built our research on the team's success in discovering molecular water on the sunlit surface of the Moon. We thought we could use SOFIA to find this spectral signature on other bodies. Arredondo said. The success mentioned by the scientist confirms that water on the silver globe is more common than previously thought and can be found even on the sunlit surface of our natural satellite. Iris has a diameter of about 199 kilometers. It orbits in the asteroid belt beyond the orbit of Mars and takes 3.7 years to complete one orbit around the Sun. Massalia is slightly smaller. It has a diameter of about 135 kilometers and a similar orbit. Two other asteroids, Parthenope and Melpomene, were also analyzed. But the quality of data for these objects made it impossible to draw final conclusions. If there is water on these asteroids, FORCAST sensors were not sensitive enough to detect it. Previous observations of asteroids could not distinguish between actual water and its close chemical relative, the hydroxyl group. But in new analyses, researchers have dealt with this problem. According to them, each cubic meter of regolith on the asteroid contains about 350 milliliters of water. This result is similar to the value estimated for lunar regolith in a 2020 study using data collected by the SOFIA Observatory. Arredondo pointed out that water on asteroids may be associated with minerals. It can also adsorb on silicates and be trapped or dissolved in the silicate impact glass, the researcher noted.